Deadzone Rogue is an FPS roguelike RPG by Prophecy Games that plays like if you took Borderlands and Destiny and spliced it with Returnal and Witchfire. You play as an unknown soldier who's woken up on a ship in which something has gone very wrong. In usual roguelike fashion, you fight through rooms full of enemies collecting scrap and tech which you use to upgrade your character as a form of meta progression and purchase randomizers and weapons. Speaking of the weapons, Deadzone Rogue offers a surprising amount of variety in the guns you'll either pick up from enemies or buy from vendors spread throughout the rooms. While graphically it doesn't look bad and even offers some pretty good graphical settings including ray tracing, the early levels of Deadzone Rogue can feel quite bland, and with the medium difficulty being a fair challenge, you'll be running through identical hallways and rooms, fighting the same 3 enemies until you reach the next floor. That being said, both the level design and enemy variety improve drastically upon leaving the first floor. While I definitely enjoyed Deadzone Rogue, there were a few things that stood out as cons that I hope to see improved upon when the game fully releases. Firstly, and most obviously, you move way too slowly, even with a whole bunch of movement speed boosting equipment. You do have a dash, but there's a slight cooldown that unfortunately is nowhere to be seen on the UI. You kinda have to just get used to the timing. I feel like some form of UI element or sound should be used to tell you when you can or cannot dash. Secondly, while not terrible, the frame rate could take a hit when you're faced with a lot of enemies and effects going off in your face. I'm running the game with an RTX 3060 and it was fine at first, but the deeper you go, the more the frame rate would dip. Lastly, and depending on who you ask, most importantly, the devs have used AI in the development of this game. It isn't too noticeable, but they state on their Steam page that they use AI to pre-generate some assets. Some of this generated content is used as a reference and then modified by our own in-house art team. Aside from maybe one enemy, I couldn't pick out any obviously AI-generated content, so it's definitely not too bad, but I know it can be a deal breaker for some. With that said, I had fun with Deadzone Rogue, and I'm intrigued by the story possibilities. If you enjoy roguelikes with satisfying shooting, give this game a wishlist and try out that demo for yourself.